Good afternoon, Wrestling Inc. Get up, get going. Happy 3/16 day. Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got a big one here for you today. It is me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am every Wednesday to have a happy hump day. He's going to be throwing back the beer today for me as I'm on an antibiotic, which makes me sound like a little nerd. So, he's drinking the authentic Steve Austin's Broken Skull IPA from the El Segundo Brewing Company. I sadly don't have one, but can endorse damn fine beer. It's Brian Wohl, B-Wo, welcome to the show.
Happy 3/16 day. And, I'm excited to try the lager. That comes out next month.
Oh, hell yeah, you're going to try my lager. Going to throw down a lager, goddamn. Going to throw down an IPA, goddamn. Yeah, somewhere between Jim Ross and Steve Austin was that impression. I'm not really sure. It's a great beer, and it's a great day. I am a beer person, no surprise. Got a beer mug here on my desk, beer stuff over my shoulder. Love beer. That's a great beer. His beer is actually really good if you haven't had the Broken Skull IPA yet.
Yeah, I think it's great. I didn't expect Stone Cold to have an IPA. I always thought he would have a lager, so I'm glad that the lager is coming out so I could try that. And but yeah, this one, if you guys haven't had it, it's got a strong kind of fruity start to it and then a clean finish. It's real good.
Beautiful review. I love that. Thank you for that. Well, we are going to talk pro wrestling and maybe some more beer here. We got the live news feed going right now. If you catch us out in podcast form and you're like, man, how do I catch that news feed? I want to watch it live. I want to get in the comment section Monday through Friday. Any of Wrestling Inc. socials, you can jump into the party. Like I said, there is a comment section going during the show. You can be like our good friend Nicholas, our plant friend, who just said, good afternoon, Nick and Brian. Adam Yarbrough, hello, Nick and Brian. Andrew Cormos giving me a hell yeah. Thank you so much. Samantha here too. A happy 3/16 day. Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah. Wonderful. Jump in the comment section. We got Facebook comments, Twitter comments, YouTube comments, Twitch comments. Comment away. Join us here. Later on in the show, if you are listening to us in audio form, you're going to hear the full audio for my interview with AEW star, badass Billy Gunn. I got to talk with Billy earlier this afternoon, and the great team at Wrestling Inc. helped me turn this around. The video is going to premiere right after we wrap the news segment here today at 5:30 Eastern, I think that's the time. This is dope. I love this interview. What a cool person to talk to, Brian.
Yeah, what a great get. And also somebody who has great experience with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Billy Gunn wrestled Steve Austin.
He does. They're fellow Kings of the Ring together.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the 5-timers club. Those two, I'm sure. Cherry jackets.
It's a short list. There aren't a whole lot of Kings of the Ring. Hulk Hogan was never King of the Ring.
Damn it. I didn't ask him about King of the Ring. And by the way, respectfully did not bring up the passive Scott Hall either since it's so fresh. So for those wondering why I did not take the time, it just did not seem like the appropriate thing to do in this situation. But a great talk all about his AEW run, working with Sting, working with the Suns. And he drops a little news here about like a WWE project that he's working on while signed with AEW at the end, which I think you guys will find pretty interesting as well. So stick around for that. Video will be up after the show. At the end of the show, we'll dive into the mailbag. We're going to look at a big free agent who's going to be leaving AEW here very shortly. We're going to start off our news block with that. But before we get to the news, want to send our regards out to Hitman Bret Hart and the Hart family following the passing of Santiana Ecstasy Tanya Hart. She was the daughter of the late Smith Hart. She passed away, who passed away in 2017 after a battle with prostate cancer. Very tough loss, very young. Hit Bret very hard. Very unfortunate that it happened on or around the same day that Scott Hall passed away as well. Definitely just want to send our best out to Bret and the whole Hart family. Between that and Big E's neck breaking and stuff, it just feels like there's been a kind of gross gray cloud floating over pro wrestling here the past couple days.
Yeah, most certainly. But the world, it's full of very dark things, but it's also full of very beautiful things too, and it's all happening at the same time. And that doesn't mean that we can't go out and enjoy ourselves and enjoy wrestling tonight at Dynamite. There's a lot of good things that we can celebrate and be thankful for.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, with that, let's pivot into some news you can use, news that will leave a bruise. As I alluded to, somebody is leaving AEW, and that somebody is Joey Janela. He confirmed the news to Denise Salcedo in an interview that dropped just a couple hours ago. He confirmed he's not going to be re-signing with AEW. He's going to be a free agent on April 1st. He says AEW management has gone radio silent on him. Haven't been returning into his calls. Doesn't really appreciate that. He did note that he injured Eddie Kingston on an AEW dark match as Eddie was getting ready for the program with Jericho. He got some heat for that. I guess there have been other instances where he had accidentally injured people. To his own admission, says he had maybe gotten a reputation as somebody who was hurting people in the ring, which is a tough stigma to shake when you get into the professional wrestling world. What are your thoughts here on Joey's decision to not return to AEW, Brian?
I greatly support Joey Janela. I think he's a really fun wrestler to watch. I think he's very creative, and I think him going back to GCW full time and going around the Indies will be very interesting and very fun to watch. I've certainly missed him. He was really a fun part of early days of AEW. I think it's interesting. This is, with Cody leaving, with Joey leaving, we're kind of seeing that first class of AEW start to move on into other things, and it's a big change, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll clear room for more young stars in AEW.
Yeah, and I see Scott Allen swearing here saying Janela wasn't much of anything. He was a mid-carder, because that's kind of where he got slotted after a while. If you go back to the earlier days of AEW, he did that lights out match with Jon Moxley early on. That was before, I believe, the Kenny Omega match, and was arguably like the best match AEW had done to that point. The big flying elbow drop he did off the ladder, onto the outside, through the tables, onto Moxley, was the opening image for AEW television for a I shouldn't say long time, for a while, for a good while. So it was absolutely a fall from grace. I'm sure there's more to this story. The injury stuff had been brought up by MSL pretty curtly when they were going back and forth, when Joey was going back and forth with MLW. So that was something that we had all kind of heard a little bit about, but it feels like more to me here. This guy fell from grace in a pretty sharp way over at AEW.
Yeah. And when AEW's library does go digital and you're able to access the previous matches, you guys will see. Like, if you can, go back and watch Joey's work. His early matches in AEW were really excellent. So something happened.
And I wonder, too, and, I don't want to say that Joey lacks class, because I've seen Joey do some pretty classy things on the independent scene, to be quite frank. But it is going to be very different than what we get with Cody. And Cody and Tony splitting ways was very Vince McMahon, Bryan Danielson-esque. I don't want to go so far as to say Joey's going to become the CM Punk of AEW, but it certainly feels like he has less Fs to give and 4 weeks of getting paid left to do. And then he's going to have to create interest for himself and find opportunities elsewhere. And we have not seen a disgruntled, I guess we've seen Big Swole, who didn't seem necessarily disgruntled until Tony went in on her. Then she became like fully disgruntled, which, whatever. But Joey he's not going to be nice. I wonder how Tony and the rest of AEW takes that when Joey goes out and decides to speak his piece out on the indies or podcast or wherever he decides to do it.
One nugget that really stuck out for me in the Denise interview was that he said that they ghosted him on the phone calls. It seems very similar to what Chavo said.
I was thinking it too. I didn't want to pull it all together because it kind of makes it feel like, I don't know, a little too close to our bubble.
Well,
but
this is me saying it. I'm the one going.
It sounds like what Chavo told. Yeah, the show. Totally, 100%.
It's interesting. Huh? I was like, oh, how about that? Maybe there's something to it.
I don't know. It is definitely becoming a thing. I mean, look, Tony Khan is only one man, right? He is one man with a finite amount of time, and I genuinely don't know what kind of Lance Armstrong magic he is performing to be able to do this and in rugby and soccer and football and whatever else Tony Khan does, right? with the influx of people that are moving in, the bigger ticket talent, right? The people that were originals that managed to find that wave and stick with the company, those are the people that have solidified time in Tony's ear. If you are not in that kind of orbit right now, your early relationship with Tony, where there are less voices in the room, may not be as impactful right now. And we are going through a change right now in AEW where the roster is going to look very different in 3 months than it did a year ago at that time. Very, very, very different. We're going to see a lot of people kind of exiting the company for the first time. And again, it's just going to be interesting to see how does that affect AEW? How does that affect, the people that left? And we're going to talk about it more in the mailbag. I don't need to get too much into it here, but like a lot of people saying, yeah, Joey's going back to GCW. He seems pretty outspoken about that. He's like, I've already talked to indie promoters and all that. But there are other places Joey Janela can go. And I wonder what kind of value Joey brings to those environments, considering just who Joey is and how AEW didn't really seem to get, I guess, Joey Janela.
Yeah, and I'm very curious to see what happens with Ring of Honor coming up. And is GCW versus Ring of Honor going to be a thing, or are they going to be simpatico? I don't know.
I think it'll be are you talking about like storyline? Or are you talking about, are these two things going to be fighting it out for space?
I think fighting it out for space.
Oh, that is on like Donkey Kong. Oh yeah, I think it's already started. I know that Nick Gage signed a GCW contract or something like that. Like Brett wanted him locked down. Would not be surprised to see a Janela, an Effie, Alley Catch, Mance Warner starting to get locked down, because you can't just stay a feeder system forever to everybody and maintain. GCW is an established brand at this point with stars that audience wants, and I absolutely think it'll be a bit of a land grab between those two.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because now AEW will be fighting a war on two fronts. They'll be going against Vince, and they'll also be doing Ring of Honor against GCW. We have some interesting stuff coming up this summer.
So glad that at 5:00, largely my day is usually done. I go to the dog park. I don't know. So anyway, moving away from AEW, let's talk a little WWE stuff here. NXT was last night. Couple highlights coming out of the show. Tony D'Angelo, he came out at the end of the show. He challenged Tommaso Ciampa to a match at NXT. Stand and deliver. Ciampa accepted. D'Angelo laid him out. Very much feels like this is the send-off match for Ciampa from NXT as he takes off to what looks to be greener pastures, I would think, on the main roster. What do you think's going on here?
Oh, 100% yes. Tony D'Angelo kept hinting at it in his promos, saying, like, who is the one person that I need to beat to get over the hump, to make my name in the NXT history books and stuff like that? It's Tommaso Ciampa. So I feel like he was really building up how important it is for him to beat Tommaso Ciampa. And then Ciampa also built up the moment by, saying his goodbyes and thank yous already. So something's up.
I think D'Angelo's going down. I feel like we're building up for a very sentimental, sanguine, or sugary kind of moment I can't call them takeovers anymore. Stand and deliver, where Ciampa's going to beat this guy, and then they're going to have a mutual sign of respect. And I would think Ciampa's headed to the main roster. He has done nothing to prove that he does not belong there. He looks fine. He's got like stone cold energy in a way that nobody else on the roster does right now.
Sorry, my dog is so upset. Oh, Blue.
See, I invoked Steve Austin while talking to Ciampa. And what's your dog's name again, B-Wo?
Blue, like Blue's Clues.
Blue. Yeah, of course it is. You look just like Steve.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I feel like Tommaso is really sorely needed on the main roster. They need more guys that are a three-dimensional character that can, wrestle just about anybody. Ciampa works as a face. He works as a heel. This guy will get over wherever he goes, and I do not doubt Tommaso Ciampa. I understand he is undersized, but he will make an impact.
Well, my new Tuesday co-host Issa here saying, glad my dog isn't the only one that tries to crash the show.
I'm going to let him out of the room.
My dog Willow just sits quietly in the other room, and unless like a funeral starts airing on the news, she doesn't do anything. She sings along to gospel. She's from Mississippi. She loves gospel music. She sings the gospel when it's on TV. That is a real thing. That is a real thing my dog does.
It was beautiful.
All right. Outside of D'Angelo Ciampa, man, it was a star. I said it's a star-studded NXT. So we got a picture of Dominic Mysterio hanging outside NXT last night before the show started. We put it up on Twitter. Internally, we had our little Slack thread going, and there were a few of us, and I was like, well, it's got to be the Miz stuff, right? The Mysterios. Miz is there. Miz, Logan Paul. Maybe the Mysterios help even the odds, kind of playing it out in our heads. Did not expect what we got, which was them confronting Legado del Fantasma. We got this match between Dominic and Raul Mendoza, and the tease of Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, in my opinion, right? Like this feels like the first step to that match to me, right?
Yeah. I really loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great showcase for Dominic. Dominic needs more reps like this. Totally. And this is a great way for him to grow. I thought this was his best match yet. I really enjoyed the work that they had going on. I was surprised that Ray kind of sucker punched Santos. I thought that was kind of a heelish thing to do, but whatever. People love Ray, so. But I was like, wow, he kind of sucker punched him.
So what I'm wondering is if why would you set this up unless you're building to Ray versus Santos at some point, right? Or some kind of tag match, I guess, with the Mysterios. But Santos Escobar has said on the record many times he wants the match with Ray. It's very meaningful. It's cool now that the door is open between Raw and NXT to allow those kinds of things to happen. Stand and deliver. Ray's already got a WrestleMania match. He's doing the Logan Paul tag match. Does he do 2 matches in one weekend? Does he somehow get involved in Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania and do double duty?
I think he certainly could. I feel like the Logan Paul match is going to be a completely different style match than a match with Santos Escobar.
Yes, Brian. I know they're very different matches, but again, why risk getting injured doing the Lucha Santos Escobar match before the big money Logan Paul match? That's the only thing I really think of.
I guess that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I just want to see it as a fan. And also as a former Lucha Underground fan,
Sure.
Santos Escobar, an alum, and Rey Mysterio, an alum. So I think that'll be really cool. And also, I can't help but think of Rey's matches with Andrade and how fantastic those were. So I want to see what Santos Escobar does with Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, and we brought up the Miz being there, hosting that Miz TV with Rude and Ziggler. Another chance for an NXT 2.0 person to get mixed in with some top names. LA Knight getting to not only wrestle Dolph Ziggler, we came up short, spoiler, but getting to try to hang on the mic with the Miz. And wow, once you see these guys next to the $1 million players, you can't unsee it. And LA Knight, I thought looked really good here next to these guys. That's like very, very good.
LA Knight belongs. I feel like he is undeniable at this point, and it's only a matter of time until he gets used on the main roster. But we'll see. He certainly belongs. I mean, if you guys haven't seen the segment, fire it up on YouTube, and you'll see LA Knight kills it.
Here we go. Let's see. So Raj did his little breakdown for me in our internal email. NXT did see a boost last night. So this was the 3rd best audience of the year, tied with January 11th and 25th shows. Year to year, the show was up 4.5% in total viewers, up 7.7 in the key demo. It was the first time since January 11th there was a year-to-year increase in the audience. And spoiler, this is working, right? Like taking main roster players and going down there and having them give the rub to these people that you are hoping are going to look important enough or be ready enough to come to your main roster. It is so frustrating knowing how good this formula works and how easily it would have layered onto NXT 1.0 and would have made everyone down there mega huge successful stars. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah.
I'm glad they found it now.
Yeah, me too, man. But seriously, you couldn't have been doing this for Triple H? Like you weren't going to give him the access? Because it felt like after the Survivor Series stuff went so well, they just pulled the rug out from NXT ever doing stuff with the main roster, and it was a real kneecapping. I cannot fathom how upsetting it has to be to sit by and watch this be playing out right now and working. Ugh. I do. I think it's turned a corner. I think there's something there now. If they're finding their mojo with this new formula in NXT 2.0.
Last night's show was a great show. They had a great show. I have to say, I like the matches. I like the segments. Everything. It was a great, and I've been very critical of NXT 2.0, but last night's show was a great show.
See, and I see Worminator82 here from Twitch saying they did it with Finn Balor and Charlotte. Yeah, but it was so infrequent, right? And Finn just became part of the show, right? It wasn't like he came in to put somebody over. Finn just became part of NXT again after leaving NXT and being like a staple down there. So anyway, while we're talking about NXT, Fightful saying Candice LeRae, her contract set to expire this spring, hasn't been renewed or frozen yet. Sources weren't sure if a freeze was even able to happen, considering LeRae was away on maternity leave. And regarding her status, there's a feeling within WWE that she will not be back in action by the time the contract expires. No talk of an extension. I think would really rile people up if they held Candice LeRae longer than necessary with her husband out and due to her maternity, but stranger things have happened. Spring is officially in 4 days. I looked this up. Starts March 20th. So pretty soon, I guess I'm saying Candice LeRae could be up for grabs here. Does she interest you? Her and Johnny as a package or separately? What do you think?
I think Candice LeRae is a tremendous wrestler. I think she was very, very underutilized in NXT. We got to see some of her personality a little bit in the Gargano's at Home segments, but I don't think we really got to see all that she can do in NXT. So I hope she leaves and goes somewhere else where we can see more of what Candice is capable of.
Yeah, 100%. And we're going to get a chance to see what Killer Kross is capable of in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's set to make his New Japan Strong debut at the Lone Star Shootout in Dallas on April 1st. His debut was announced on social media yesterday with a video where he could be seen attacking unnamed trainees at a gym. He then explained he earned his name with his accomplishments both in and out of the ring. I'm guessing murdering people in and out of the ring. Before declaring his new beginning starts in Dallas, he proceeded to call out Minoru Suzuki by name, and he ended with the TikTok catchphrase. What do you think about Kross heading to New Japan Pro Wrestling?
This seems like a natural fit. You know, Lance Archer had such a great renaissance in New Japan and was able to grow there and become the star that he is in AEW. So I don't see why Kross can't, kind of rejuvenate himself in New Japan and see where that takes him.
It's just so weird to me. You know, we're going to find out more about this period in Kross's career in time, but why didn't AEW pick up Kross and Scarlett? I don't know. That's a very interesting question, right? It is interesting to me the kind of lack of North American options for a duo of Kross and Scarlett is, considering their level of success and notability and fan acceptance. The fact he's going to wind up in New Japan Strong for the moment, probably go over to New Japan proper and become like an international talent. I mean, considering the lay of the land, how many people do wind up over there, I guess it just kind of raises some eyebrows for me. But a lot of people have also gone internationally, raised their stock, and come back to the States more valuable than that. But it just is weird to me that at this moment, no major promotion is able to find a spot for Kross and Scarlett. Very odd for me.
It doesn't have anything to do with them not getting the shot, right? And they can't tour, because there's a lot of people in AEW that didn't get the shot.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's that. I think it's, again, I think it's something else, right? I think that there's something else going on with these guys. And I'm just very interested to find out what that is. It's just notable to me that this very popular duo is having to go kind of internationally right now, or at least one of them is, at a time where you would think there would be a spot for me over here in the States. Just very weird, very odd. I don't know.
Yeah, he is an Impact alum. They couldn't.
Scarlett said on the record, they're never going back to Impact. Never doing that. That was today we ran that story. So that's the thing is, I don't know. Maybe it's right. Israel Capote here saying AEW is just overloaded. Kross is going to wait for the right moment. Could be. I guess we'll see. All right. Well, Brian, I want to thank you for joining me at the top of the show. Talk all the news of the day. Thank you to AEW for that awesome interview with Billy Gunn. Had a blast talking to Billy Gunn. We're going to premiere that here in just a couple minutes over on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube channel. But before we get to that, let's wrap up the show, diving into the mailbag. If you want to vote in the daily poll, at Wink Daily, WINC Daily, that's the place to vote. Today's poll question: where do you want to see Joey Janela wrestle next following his AEW run? About 150 votes here, 52.7 to GCW, 24% to NXT 2.0, 17.1 Ring of Honor, and 6.2 for everybody else. Where do you want to see Joey go next?
Gosh, I would say GCW is definitely the #1 destination, but I don't know. I never really thought NXT 2.0 would be an option for him, but how funny is that? Hey, bud. Sorry, the mailman just came, guys.
Yeah, he's pissed.
Goodness.
Scared the shit out of me. Jesus Christ.
I'm so sorry, you guys. Mail usually doesn't come this early. But yeah, I gotta say, NXT 2.0 would be hilarious for Joey Janela. What would happen with him there?
That's what I wonder, though. I mean, he's kind of jacked right now. I mean, is it something WWE could, lot out, right? To kind of say, hey, if you were somebody that came to AEW looking for Joey Janela and that, kind of hardcore fan base, you don't have it there anymore. We're going to bring Joey Janela over to NXT 2.0 and just see what happens, right? Just see what happens. Could be a miserable failure. Could be a great 12-month experiment. I don't know. But I don't see a problem in trying it. Right?
It's certainly the most interesting option of all the ones that you put out there, and one that I did not consider until I looked at that poll.
Why not try it? Ring of Honor would be interesting, but I just don't think he likes Tony right now, so I don't think that's going to work out. Yeah, NXT. I say yes. Look, obviously he's going back to GCW, but maybe only for a little bit, right? Again, so worth thinking about. Is what I'm saying. I don't know. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. We got too much who let the dogs out energy going on right now.
I'm so sorry, you guys. Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to be back tomorrow. I don't know who I'm going to be joined by. Paul can't be here. Corderis is out. I'll have somebody, maybe you. We'll find out.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm free. I'm not doing anything.
I have another invite out. So before I invite you, let me hear back from the other person.
No worries.
And I'll be back tomorrow with somebody. I'm not going to do an interview, I think, tomorrow. But we are going to drop a big interview on Friday. I talked to Doc Gallows and Rocky Romero this afternoon. So you'll hear that triple threat on Friday's show. If you like the Wrestling Inc. Daily, support us on iTunes or whatever podcast platform you like. Go check out WrestlingInc.com. We're on all the socials. And come back here tonight after Dynamite for the latest episode of the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Brian, what do you want to put over here to wrap up the show today?
Oh, if you guys are in the Los Angeles area, come out and see me on Friday at the Hollywood Comedy at 8 p.m. for their Friday Riot show. You can get the tickets through the link in my bio on Twitter and Instagram. And it's just at Brian Wohl. You can always find me there.
Awesome. And I'm at Nick_Hausman over on Twitter. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Go check out the Billy Gunn interview. It's about to debut. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.